What up, Wastelanders? Christopher here, Gaslands NorCal. Thanks for joining me once again for another conversion video. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Secondly, you'll know that recently I have completed the Jim Silva 30-day challenge. Now, this is a challenge where Jim sends you a box of a bunch of different cards, a bunch of different stuff, and the challenge is to do one build within 30 days. Well, I finished that build. I did all of the cars. It was like 14 of them, I think, in 30 days, and that was just phenomenal. I had such a blast doing it. Jim has stepped up that challenge and has done a group challenge for our players here at Gaslands NorCal. Now, we've got about 10 to 12 regulars that we play with, that play in League and everything else. So he sent us a box of like 50 to 60 different castings. We got the box last weekend, split it all up, so each person that's doing the challenge, there's 6 of us, got like 10 different castings that we're going to do. And I picked out all mine that look like they're going to be pretty fun to do. These are 2 of the castings that I got. I got this, I don't even know what this is, a Vat Ming, so some sort of Chinese truck looking thing, and this 67 Camaro. Now, I also have a bunch of waterslide decals from Rust Belt Customs. Now, he does a bunch of different stuff. I've got a bunch of his different waterslide decals. I just seem to keep collecting them, almost like an obsession. But recently I got a bunch of them that were Fallout related. So I'm going to make these 2 builds kind of focused on Vault Tech. I'm going to use a bunch of these waterslide decals, put on these builds when I get them all painted up and everything. Now, since these are clear water slides, I have to really be careful with the paint choice that I use. So I'm going to be going with the Monument Hobbies Pro Acrylic White Blue, and that should make these darker blue letters pop and everything. I've got all the wheels and weapons, everything picked out, so these should be pretty easy to do. But first of all, you know what we got to do? We got to get these babies apart, get them into the stripper. Alright, so we're all stripped up and primed and everything. I get several questions on what do you use to strip, what do you use to prime. So to strip, I use the Citrus Strip Orange Gel. This stuff works really well. I just have a big old coffee can that I use. I just dump a bunch of this in there, drop my castings in there after I've taken them all apart. Usually leave them at least overnight, but I've found that 3 hours is probably enough. But this stuff works great, and then rinse them off in some warm to hot water, and yeah, it turns out that all the paint comes off pretty well. I've only had a few castings that I've had to leave them in a little bit longer, but yeah, safe works great. Now to prime, typically I will use Gray Sear. I've used other stuff, white, black, just depending on what color scheme I want to eventually get to, but this is kind of my go-to. So everything's primed up and stripped and ready to go. Next, we're going to get the Monument Hobbies Pro Acrylic White and Blue on there, and I think I'm going to start off with some Contrast Pilar Glacier and some Aethermatic Blue from Citadel for the first go-round, and then we'll start weathering and see where we end up at. But first, let's get these things all painted up in the white blue, and we see where we go to next. Let's do it! Alright, so we're all primed up, got the blue on there, got the contrast on there. The more often I use these different contrasts, the more I realize or remember why I don't like using them all that much on Gasland and stuff, because I really do a whole lot. It may come out in the end, it'll look kind of cool just depending on what colors it eventually comes to, but mostly I use the Agrax or something like that, so meh, it's fine. We'll see where it goes from there. Next, we're going to get the water slides on there, and like I said, you have to do with these water slides in particular, you have to do a lighter color because the background is clear and you want them to pop or to show up, so doing a dark color wouldn't really work. So we're gonna get these water slides on here, and then we're gonna coat them with this microset. It improves decal adhesion and kind of makes them look better. Works pretty well. Yeah, So let's get those on there. Then we'll probably hit it with some agrax. Then I'm going to prime all the wheels, weapons, and armor and everything else. And then we'll start getting these things back together and getting them all Gaslands. So yeah, let's get these decals on there. Alright, now while those dry and get set and everything else, we're going to get the wheels and the armor and everything all primed up in black and dry brushed in silver and stuff. Now the primer that I like to use is the One Shot MIG primer. It's just black, goes on really well with airbrush. Depending on how thick you're going to do it, sometimes you have to kind of dilute it with some thinner. I like to use the AK acrylic thinner. Other ones I've used just don't work as well. This is my kind of go-to. The airbrush that I use is a master airbrush. I got it off of Amazon with the compressor. It's a small compressor, about yay big. Whole thing was probably 70, 75 bucks, so it doesn't really cost all that much. Saves a ton of time, saves a ton of money. You don't go through quite as much paint and everything else. So that's what we're going to do with these. Getting all primed up in black and dry brush. So yeah, let's get this done, and then once the builds dry, we'll get them back together and start making these things all Gaslands. Let's do it. Alright, here we are all painted up, got the decals and stuff on there, looking like they just rolled off the showroom floor. Gonna get some wheels and weapons and stuff going on there, but first we need to make them more Gaslands, more wastelands, more rusted up, weathered up, and everything else. So we're gonna go with the MIG chipping solution. Gonna do the sponge technique as always. Just get some chipping solution on the sponge, dab it on a paper towel, and then just get the hard edges and stuff, make it look all chipped up before we get some weathering and stuff on there, and then we'll get the wheels and weapons and stuff on. And yeah, these are looking pretty good. Let's get them chipped. Alright, that wasn't that much better. Got a little chipping going on, got the wheels on there. Already looking more Gaslands, but looking more weathered, wasted up, and everything else. Looking great, loving these. Next, we're going to get all the weapons and armor and everything else on there, since we already got the wheels on, and then we will start getting them all rusted up and everything. But yeah, these things are transforming before your very eyes. Let's continue on with this journey and get these things all armored up. Let's do it. Alright, so we're all grunged up and everything with the agrax. Got all the wheels and weapons and armor thing going on. Looking really good. Next, we're going to do some final touches with the rust from Vallejo. And then we'll get some dusting on there. We'll call these things good. But yeah, this Vaultec team is looking pretty badass. Let's get it rusted up and dusted and we good. Let's do it. And there we have it. 2 Vaultec Wasteland vehicles ready for some carnage. 67 Camaro just looks outstanding. I love these waterslide decals. Rust Belt Customs just does a great job with these. They just go on really well and they look really good. So yeah, and then this off-brand, I think it's some Chinese model truck. They just fit in so well together. The colors and everything blended really well. Of course, using the same one. That's kind of goes to show. These are the very first 2 of the Jim Silva Gaslands NorCal team build challenge that I've done. I've got 8 more to do. Probably get some more done this week. Definitely get them all done within the 30-day time limit. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, do me a favor and hit that like button. My goal is to do weekly builds, whether they're vehicle builds, train builds, whatever. So if that's for you, hit the sub button below and ring the bell to get notified when new content drops. I do sell all my builds pretty inexpensive on my Etsy page, so if you want to pick something up, see what else I've done, you can even request a custom build. Until next time, keep your foot on the gas and your finger on the trigger. Gaslands NorCal, signing out.